Underaged characters are used in anime for three reasons. One, to show their struggles as a vulnerable part of society. Two, to show the past of existing older characters. And three, to reflect a world that's so freaked up that people really grow old. But then there's a cursed fourth reason, one that somehow many anime very shamelessly slip under the guise of the first three reasons. And One Piece happens to be one of them. So today we'll go down memory lane and decide whether a scene was integral to the story or something from a certain high society. We'll start with Bonney, a 12-year-old swept out at sea who has the powers of the HH Nomi. Now Oda wrote Bonney with the intention that a child captain would not be taken seriously, and so Bonney had no other choice but to appear older than she was. So far so good. Until you realize that not just in the manga but in the anime, there have been multiple scenes and camera angles where she was, for lack of a better word, compromised. We already know Oda, who can draw millions of different unique characters every arc, somehow loses that creativity when it comes to drawing women with different bodies. But let's let him have this one. If not the body, then what about the fits? Is it so hard to clothe a child? I won't show that one scene from Egghead here, but whose bright idea was to skip over the dozen other female characters and hand it to the kid? I know there are some people who defend this by saying that it was Bonnie's older self that faced this, but that's on the same level as saying that, oh, she's mature for her age. Absolutely disgusting. Now that was a clear violation, no debate. So let's move on to the more grayer areas. Scarlet and Kiros, who were 15 and 25 when they met and fell in love. We've also had Pudding, who I just found out was 16 when she was getting married to Sanji, who is 21. And there was also Rebecca wearing something with a decorative helmet, who was also 16. Now on paper, all of this would put people behind bars, but I'm gonna try and be as unbiased as I can. The reason why they're all so young is because in Japan, the age of consent is 16 years. And to make matters worse, just 3 years ago in 2023, it was 13 years old for the longest time. Well, no surprises here. But since One Piece was set in a 16th century-like era according to the Sea Circle calendar, it makes sense as to why the ages are all messed up and looked at from a modern lens. But does it not seem suspicious that it's somehow always the female characters who end up representing the age of consent? I wouldn't be pointing out these things had I not known what sort of creeps lurk on the internet, but for an already vulnerable bunch, any such portrayal does nothing but a shallow disservice. But let's zoom out for a second. One Piece is an anime from the 90s, where many such age or sus moments were labeled as comic relief or gags, and calling them out would be considered too sensitive or butthurt. But since the show has continued past its generation, our tolerance for these things has significantly gone down. A character like Master Roshi or Jiraiya from back in the days, who were looked up as wise masters, would be dragged for their behavior today. And while Oda might not have such motives, we can't just sit back and laugh it off and call whoever brings up these issues a hater who can't comprehend peak peace. And while we're still on the topic, Bonney, Rebecca, or Pudding are just the tip of the iceberg, because although One Piece has some of the best written female characters, their designs trivialize all that they stand for. Anyone who knows Robin knows that a classy, elegant woman like her would rather die than wear these freaking baby rompers. Why is that? For the male characters, it's always function first, fashion later, but for a woman, you gotta look the part even if you are at death's door. These things might look small in retrospect, but they snowball in effect the longer they're allowed to persist. It is and has always been this deep, and I hope that with the modern anime shift, with characters like Mama or Frieren making rifts, we finally get to see a breakthrough in One Piece as well. Hopefully someday Oda grows out of the 2 circles and 2 lines layout and gives us a female character like Maki or Star and Stripe. That's physical strength done in perfection. If Oda wrote them, then he would have started gluing 3 sheets of paper on them. Just imagining that scars me. Alright, that is a wrap. Thank you for watching, and I'd love to hear your take on this minor problem. Take care.